Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a mobile with butterflies in. You can use nail art's butterflies if you have that. I went to Google, found a lot of small butterflies, printed them out even tinier, and I used a lot of time cutting these butterflies out. Then I am going to take some eye pins and I'm cutting the head of it, and I'm finding around the middle of this one and cutting it to size. And I was not cutting it directly on the middle, so I had to cut a tiny bit of one of them. These are 2.5 centimeters long, and then I have one that I just cut the head of. It is 5.5 centimeter, and that is actually a tiny bit too big. I would think 4.5 is better. I do end up cutting a tiny bit of that long one. Here you see that in inches if you are one of those people that likes things in inches. Then I use these round-nosed pliers and I am making a I don't even know what that is called, a loop in one end of this little pin, or the stick, or the piece of metal wire thingy, and I'm actually making a loop in the other end as well, and I'm doing that on the other stick as well, so I have two small pieces with a loop in each end. Then I take the long piece and again I'm making a loop in each end. Make sure that they are lying in the same direction, and so that the piece can lie flat on the table like this. And then I am going to find the middle of this one, and on the middle I am going to make a tiny indent for the wires to be hanged in. You don't really need this step, but I'm showing it anyway. I'm first bending it down like you see here, then I'm moving the pliers a tiny bit to each side of that bend and bending it up again. This way I get this little bump on the middle there, and this is where I figure out that this one is a bit too long, so I am going to cut off each of these loops that I have in the ends and then make 2 new loops. I don't think I need to show you that, but I'm shortening it off like that. But here you see the pieces that we need. They look like this. Then I chose 5 different butterflies, and I took 2 of the same butterflies and glued them together so that I have the picture on both sides of my butterfly when it's done. And I do this with all 5 butterflies. Then I took a marker that fit the color of the outside of the butterfly, and I'm just coloring in the paper here so you don't see that white line. And again, I'm doing this on all 5 of my butterflies. Now comes the hard part, the wiring. So first of all, I am wiring the middle part here of the big one. And if you make it right, you could actually use just one knot here. I made it with 2 pieces of thread, but you could do it with 1. I am making kind of a double knot, and then I'm just tying it really good together. And I am also giving it a tiny dot of glue so that when I cut the string that I don't need down, it doesn't really matter because it won't unravel anyway. Then I am going to place a little piece of thread in each of these loops that we have. I'm showing you the done result here on the screen so you can see how I tied everything together. So the first one I made was in the middle of the top piece. Then I am placing a thread in each of the loops, giving that some glue. Then when that glue has dried, I am taking the thread from the top loops and making a tiny knot around the middle of the tiny stick, and giving that again glue so everything will stay, even though that I cut off the rest. And on the loose pieces there we are going to glue down the butterflies. It is quite difficult to show you because there are so many threads here, and you can see I am giving all my little knots a tiny bit of glue, and here I have one of the smaller pieces with both string ends, and I'm gonna do that on the other one as well. When the glues on all these strings has dried, I am taking another piece of string and I'm placing it here in the middle of the top so that it is going down from the top and down. And again, I'm making my double knot and then I am gluing the little knot. I am then making a knot with a string around the middle piece of one of the smaller parts. And I'm doing this again on both the smaller parts. Then I am taking that string that sits on the middle of the smaller one, place it through one of the loops in the big one, pulling it up so I like the length of it and making my double knot. And again, I'm gluing it. And when the glue is all dry, I cut off the excess of this little string, and I'm doing this on both sides again. And that is it for the mechanism, and we have all the strings for our butterflies ready. So the first butterfly is going to hang here in the middle with the string that is going downwards from the bigger one here. I am placing a tiny bit of tacky glue on there, and I cut the length of my string into the length I want it to be. I am taking a tiny bit of super glue and popping that onto the string, and then I'm placing that into my tacky glue, and that is a instant bond, and the butterfly will be on there really nice and easy. Then I cut the strings from one of the smaller ones into two different lengths. Again, you can do the lengths just like you want to. And I'm taking my butterflies that is going on these pieces of string, again placing a dot of tacky glue, popping a tiny bit of super glue on the string and placing that into the tacky glue, and this way you have a instant bond to the butterflies. And I'm gonna do the same on the other side with the last two butterflies. I know this video is quite tricky to understand and watch what I'm doing. It was really difficult to record this video, but I wanted so badly to show you this because I think the end result is so cute. So I hope you get a little out of it anyway, and that you can understand what I'm doing, and maybe just look at my pictures and see from where to where the strings goes. I really hope you will give this one a try. I know that you can get some really cute nail art butterflies and maybe other kind of animals on eBay, AliExpress, and Temo. And you can use that as well for this if you want to, or you can even print out some small fish and put them together. Just remember, you need to be able to pop them together in a mirrored fashion so that you don't have a white piece of paper on one side. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I hope you will try it out because I think you can do it as well. So that is it for today. Thank you for watching and happy crafting.